Hey there, Laker fans. Welcome to another episode of Lakers Detailed. I am your host, Vinay, with my co host, Raj. Raj, it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's been pretty quiet on the Western Front here. The Lakers have not really been doing anything. I feel like nobody in the NBA has really been doing anything right now. Well, there
Yeah.
is one team that's in trouble that we're going to discuss a little bit later that has been doing
Oh,
some things
yes.
that we have to figure out. But for the most part, Laker fans have been enjoying a pretty cool summer, quiet summer. And we've been enjoying watching Slim Luka terrorize teams in the Eurobasket. And as always, we're happy for all the folks that are able to join today. Shout out to the folks that are part of the Detailers Club. We've been chatting in the Discord pretty consistently as news drops around the league. But before we get into the topics that we want to get into today, Raj, my friend, how are you doing? Oh, and Raj disappeared. So we'll wait for him to get back up here. But folks, it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it's been a good time. There you go. You're back, buddy. Thought we
Yeah,
lost you for a second.
yeah, that's what happened.
How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, man, I am good. It is way too much football on the timeline, so I'm ready for that to finish every day. It is just a football game dominating the sports conversation. So tonight it looks like there was another game
Yes.
between two teams that I am not aware of at all. But we have like 3 weeks left until
Yes.
the season starts. 2 weeks and a half, training camp begins. So I'm taking some time to stay off. It's funny, like sometimes I'll forget I posted something in the morning and I'll look on my mentions, like why is my mentions going crazy, and I forgot that I posted about the Adam Silver thing that we'll talk about later. But
Yeah.
no, I'm good, man. I'm ready for the season to start here in a few weeks and jump right back into the grind.
Yeah, man. It's been really good. I think I have almost perfected the art of not looking at Twitter. I know everybody calls it
Yeah.
X now, but I'm just gonna keep calling it Twitter, just the same way I call it Staples Centers and Staples Center,
Yes.
and I don't call it crypto anymore. Um, but I think I perfected the art of not using Twitter when it's the off season. Like there's like unless
Okay.
there's like actual news, which there really hasn't been. I would say this off season, it's been pretty quiet. We've talked about this in the chat, like ever since like the Lakers just kind of took care of all their free agency stuff like real quick. It's been like, all right, Luka's going to go play in the Eurobasket, and then that's about it. Like it
Yeah.
hasn't been anything more than that, and so it's been very fun to watch him, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, I do like the disconnect that I've gotten, but like you said, we're 30 days out. We're going to be pulled right back into it
Yes.
and pulled right back into the game in about 30, 40 days. So there's some buzz on the Lakers timeline. You got to enjoy being within LeBron James's orbit at the Summer League. For the folks
Yes.
that are in the Discord, y'all know about what happened with me and Raj was there too as well. This past weekend, that was a very cool experience that we
Yes.
were able to share with you guys. And hopefully that leads to greater things in the future. But Raj, Luka looks really good, and that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Uh, Luka had a really, really great Eurobasket tournament. Slovenia fell short, expected because his team wasn't very good, but he was amazing. We don't have to get into the super specifics unless you want to. There's something specific you want to talk about. But how
Hmm.
do you feel? This was like sort of the first experience of what a healthy,
Yes.
fit, more conditioned Luca looks like.
It's funny because you knew how much, I guess, the Euro basket matters to players like Luka. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
players who didn't grow up here, grew up overseas. But watching it, you just get a different sense of how competitive that is, and there's a level of effort that I feel like, and it makes sense, right? The Eurobasket is less games, so it's more packed in terms of each game having more importance, and obviously as the games go on, they rise in importance. But I thought Luka's competitiveness on the defensive end really showed out. I'm sure there's stuff the Lakers are watching and going, man, it'd be nice to have that through our season, but obviously in a different body, has transformed into a different basically a different person. But yeah, Slovenia runs obviously a very different type of basketball because the talent they have isn't what the Lakers do. So Luka has the ball even more, in these cases. It's a lot more organized, I feel like, as well. A lot of the sets are a little bit more carefully put out there. But Luka looked awesome. He looked like he has a chance to be the best player in the league next year. And I think that's what you're asking for. He got to the line a lot more than he did in NBA basket. He hit his free throws as well over there. I think he hit like 88% of his free throws, which is a huge jump as well. But the most important thing, Vinay, I think most would say, is he got out of that healthy.
Yes.
Right. There were people who were rooting for Slovenia to lose, which I find extremely strange.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know. I find that a very strange, output of what you're rooting for. But it was fun to have some Luka Doncic basketball in the middle of August and early September. It was nice to kind of watch him in an environment that he really cares about, right?
Yes,
in a very in a leadership role. Very much you can see him cursing out teammates. Not that he doesn't do that in the league, but just in a different level. It's funny hearing it in like his language, right? Because you can kind of parse out what he's saying. So there was one possession where I think his teammates didn't run out clock properly, and the other team got the ball back, and you see him like cursing them out in his language, and just the emotion and the fire.
Yeah.
We both speak other languages, and there's a level of like emotion you can get to in a different language that sometimes you can't articulate as well in English. But it was cool to watch. Again, it's cool to watch Luka in his element. And again, glad he's healthy and he'll be ready to go for training camp.
I thought he's been fantastic. One of the most fascinating parts about Luka, one of the things I think you and I have discussed this before, is the way he kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve. Like he doesn't, he's not cool. He's not too cool for the game. It's just like, it's one of those things where I watch him and I think to myself that like, I don't feel like I'm watching an NBA. He is an NBA superstar. He is a superstar in every sense, but like you don't feel like you're watching him because he's so ingrained. He's so into the game, right? And he's so into the environment that he's in. And it's a very cool thing to kind of experience because it's one of those things where I feel like you learn to appreciate the game more because you're invested in his emotion in the game too as well, right? As opposed to just the highlights and the stuff that he does. So it's a personable thing. It happens indirectly if you've seen him in person, so you know what it's like. But even if you watch him on TV, but if you see him in person, you feel very connected to him as he plays the game. So I think that's super awesome. He looked great, Raj. Like there were many times I was watching some of these, watching some of the Slovenia. I didn't watch all of the games, but the games I did watch and the highlights I did see, he was making plays for himself a lot because his teammates weren't that great. But I found myself so many times when he was running a pick and roll, whether he was snaking it, whether he was running a double drag, whether he was rejecting screens and pulling to get the big to come out and switch. I was just like, oh, when DeAndre Ayton is the guy throwing the screen, this is going to be so different. Like, or when Austin Reeves is the guy that's in the corner catching this pass, it's going to be so different. Or when LeBron James is on the court in the post running this, it's going to be so different. And for me, it was just great to see that he was able to, he was able to be successful. Obviously, he looked really good physically. His mobility defensively was, I thought, was great. He was not having to use a ton of double moves, triple moves, excessive dribbling, excessive clock wasting, that kind of stuff to get some of his game off. I think that's a big thing that happens with conditioning. But the most important part is, I feel like he was very, I don't want to say careful because I think he was trying really hard, but it was really good to see him not have to like kind of kill himself, to try and get some of these shots off that he was going. So he's looked fantastic, dude. I'm so excited to see what he looks like once he suits up and comes into the training camp.
Yeah, something I noticed too. A lot of like those shots that I thought he hit in Dallas, but not as much here. The little leaners, like runners, floaters. A lot of stuff more in transition where he's the one pushing it all the way coast to coast, stuff like that, where you can see the speed there, his ability to kind of transition from offense to defense to offense, stuff that you get, losing the amount of weight he did. If people don't see me posting clips, it's because I had the black SUVs pull up to my account. Gotta very stern email with about 9-10 of my tweets, basically telling me FIBA Euro does not play. So I have
Dude,
went
do
and
you remember
deleted.
the last Olympics? People were posting Olympic stuff, and they were like, the Olympics committee was like smoking every Twitter account that was like posting. They're like, bro, we're posting like Team USA fencing highlights, and the Olympics are like, I don't think so, buddy. They just took the whole account down. I was like, bro, what? Do you guys
That's
want
crazy.
these sports to grow or what?
The crazy part is, like, I don't just take the clip, like, I add animation and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they still were like, "No." They locked my account, and we're very clear that if you do this again, the penalties could
We're
be
gonna,
higher. So I
we're
so
gonna
I
get
went
you
and
out of here.
yeah, so I went and deleted all the videos, and yeah, I will cover the game through word characters for now. But
Insane. Yeah, we're gonna really become a highlight. A highlight. We'll talk about that later. But the highlight
yes,
sport that Adam Silver was mentioning,
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that you saw with him that he was doing, I don't think there's anything like too out of the ordinary than what he typically does.
yeah.
In Eurobasket, you think that that translates to the? I mean, NBA athletes much more different. You know, he's going to see the top defender majority of the time when he's on the floor. But do you feel confident seeing the seeing him play in Eurobasket and even forget the competition, but just how he's been moving and stuff like that? You think he comes in guns blazing at, for the Lakers this season?
I think so. He looks in much better just conditioning shape. I mean, when he got here, obviously it was different. I thought he lost a good amount of weight,
Oh
just from
yeah,
the time he was here. But now you can definitely see a guy who's lost pretty much all of it in his face, is where I think you really see
I was,
the
I was gonna say,
swing.
Raj, that's the Indian thing to do, where you're like, "Oh, I can see you lost weight."
Yeah,
Well, how do you
right,
know? So
right.
I can see your face. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the face really tells first, honestly. Like when
Huge,
someone's
yeah.
going through that transition, like that's where you really notice it. But yeah, for him, I think that's the main thing is his conditioning up to the top, where it could be. I keep saying this, but I think if obviously is a big if, but if they beat Boston in 2023 or was it
Hmm.
2024?
Yeah.
Just from I try not to remember what year Boston wins the title, but in any case, if he was able to, overcome that Boston team, I think he goes into the following season the best player in the league, like in terms of just
Easily.
yeah, as like a consensus best player in the league. Obviously they lost and then they had the year with Dallas. But in any case, I think he has that level of potential this season, and I think that's what the Lakers think. And he looks like he's ready to be aggressive and have a really good season. But it was fun watching him. Again, that's a different type of talent. Doesn't feel like they had one other ball handler. Everyone else was
Yeah.
a spot up guy who was ready to shoot, and they had some really forgetting the names of them, but had some really like knockdown guys that were able to hit some shots. But yeah, Luka's defense, if it can go up to that right below average, and the offense is what it is. But yeah, I think most definitely, I think he's ready to kind of translate that into to the NBA.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I'm looking really forward to seeing what he looks like. I think the conditioning's gonna do well. The only thing I am very curious about is his pacing. He likes to
Mm.
come out on a like a barrage in the first quarter and of a lot of games, and he was doing that even last season. And not that I think he runs out of gas, but I wonder if that can take away from him a little bit through some of the other parts of the game. So I'm very curious to see if that changes a little bit with his conditioning, if he's pacing himself a little bit better. That doesn't mean he's gonna be shooting less or less effective, but just like in terms of like, all right, maybe I don't need to do 10 straight possessions of pick and roll. Like I can cut it down to like 7. Let Austin take some, let LeBron take some. Set up DeAndre. I think DeAndre's gonna help. Like I think DeAndre being able to, if he's the guy that we expect him to be, I think him finishing at the rim, making Luka's life easier, will reduce some of that attrition on him.
Here's what I was thinking while watching them too. He's gonna play with two other players that are crazy ball handlers as well,
Mm-hmm.
or at least expected to be LeBron
Yeah.
and Austin Reeves. But I try to, again, the clips that I was able to post, I try to find clips for Luka setting ball screens or any type of screens, off ball screens.
Yeah.
Still very few and far
Yeah.
between. I mean, it is maybe one or two. Would it be a mistake for me to expect that to go up as he gets the talent that requires it? Or should I still expect a guy that really, I think he'll be a better cutter because of his body, but Slovenia ran him off a few off-ball screens to hit for threes. Again, very few and far between, but would it be a mistake to expect him to become a more active screener, a better cutter, and a more off-ball useful player? Or should I still just expect Luka Doncic that when he doesn't bring the ball or he isn't controlling the possession, will pretty much not remove himself from the play, but be kind of on the outskirts of it, not really involved in actions? Or is this on JJ to do that? What do you think?
I wonder if JJ has to be the guy to kind of tell him to do that. I think naturally, also Luka's just so good at it. Like it's hard to tell him to not be an initiator when he's so good at it. I think when there are stretches where he's kind of pacing himself or taking a break, you're going to see him do maybe not screen as much, but maybe be off ball. I will say this. I think the noticeable difference that we're going to see is that the single pass away attacks off of Luka's gravity of having the ball in his hands, like off of a pick and roll, is going to get better. Meaning that when his conditioning was kind of whatever, teams were much more okay with putting a guy on an island with him and letting him dribble all the way down to the rim and then just trying to
step back, right? Settle.
They were okay with that. But I think with better conditioning, the first step looks better. The kind of quickness, swiftness, even the counter moves, the spin, all that kind of stuff that he does, because it becomes better. Now when he actually does pass, like that immediate one pass away, that defender's going to step in a little bit more. And we're going to get better execution off of that. We don't really record that analytically. Like I'm sure there's the points per possession thing that the nerds like to use when they describe what's the most effective play. They'll be like, oh, Luka isolation play type is 1.75, blah blah blah. Like we don't like, anyways. The points per possession data is what it is. But for guys like me and you, that is cool as a reference to have. But what we're trying to see is what is actually happening. Is the gravity of him running a pick and roll, whether he's shooting or not, is that really leading to more points? Well, yes, points per possession would tell you that. But what is the quality of that, right? Like if the defender was only 1 foot in the paint when he was throwing those passes last time, are they now doubling? Are they doubling even harder for him to allowing him to get those passes? Like I think that's the kind of small stuff that I think him being in better conditions is going to really help. I think better teammates going to make a huge difference for him. And I think, I think that's where you're going to really see it. I don't know if you're going to get too much off-ball Luka, because I think he's probably trying to go for that MVP year 1 or year 2, I guess, technically. With the Lakers.
I'm not asking him to turn into Steph Curry, right? Sure. Like that's not going to happen. But I do think there's such a, like, it's a conversation with his defense, right? There's whenever you bring up his defense, people speak about it as a lost cause, kind of. Oh, well, there's nothing you can do. Like, I understand he's not going to become prime Kawhi. Well, prime Kawhi is a different conversation, but like he's not going to become a Kawhi level defender. But the gap between, a Trae Young to whatever, some below average defender. Oh, Steph Curry is actually a good example here. The gap between like Trae Young and Steph Curry is canyon size in terms of what they are able to do defensively. Luka has the height, he has the size, now he has the conditioning, he has the wingspan, he has the smarts. He's a very smart defender when he wants to be. Lakers use him as a guy that can kind of play all these passing lanes and things like that. I just think there's ways for him to contribute on that end and contribute off the ball where he's not just doing the James Harden, kind of thing where he's standing 4 feet away from the 3-point line. But
before we go to the next part, what does Luka have to do to win the MVP this coming year? Let's say he's averaging just about, I think he averages like 30 a year, honestly. So I think he's going to average 30 anyways.
Gets out of bed and gets 30, yeah.
Yeah. So if he's averaging and I'm asking this question because Sean actually mentioned this. I know you and I have discussed this before. I've actually said if the Lakers have a top 4 seed, and Luka averages what he normally averages, I think he's going to win the MVP. What do you think?
The league has been trying, man. You can't fault the league. The league has been absolutely trying. They have definitely put Luka as the favorite for MVP. I'm not sure if he was last season, but definitely the seasons before that. It was definitely kind of expected that Luka Doncic would get one. I don't think the bar is that
Yes.
high for him. 30. Sean, I think Sean puts it pretty well. I don't even think the 10 and like 38 and 8 would get there.
Yeah.
It's 30 plus his normal assists and rebounds, and then Lakers 3 seed makes a lot of sense. 4 is a little low for me, but I think top 3 he can easily grab it. 4 was Russ 4, right? Russ was
Russ
4.
was 6, I think. I think he
It
was a
was
6 seed
6.
when he
Okay.
went. Yeah, but he did.
Well,
But Russ did the triple double,
the trouble, right, the
which
triple
was
double thing.
historic. So it's just like that
Historic,
kind of
right.
put him over the top.
No, for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, Luka. I mean, even if Luka averages a triple double now, it won't be seen the same. But I think
Yeah.
3 seed plus his normal numbers would make
What
a
if he
lot
has
of.
a scoring title too, Raj? What if he's the scoring leader? Because I wonder if that, like, we have to remember these awards are narrative awards. They're not necessarily, I mean, we would like to
Sure.
believe they're merit based awards, which to some degree they are. But for the most part, you can't say it, so I'll say it. But we know some of the folks that have those votes don't really watch these games to the degree that they pretend to on the timeline. But I think he has a great narrative setup. He is traded away and scorned by Dallas and blah 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 and that sort of stuff, and betrayed by Nico Harrison, who's become this guy who's like become the arch nemesis to Luka in this entire story. Obviously he's done a ton for LA. Did the parking thing for fans, donated to the wildfires, which was spectacular. What was the other thing that he got the mural? I think the Kobe mural that was defaced, donated to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's done a lot. So I think he's got like the setup. Now all he has to do is just go. And now you've had the men's health thing and how he's gotten into shape. He goes to Eurobasket. People are like, no, don't play in the Eurobasket. And he's like, no, I love playing for my country, and I'm not going to not play for my country. And now it's the Lakers. So it's just, I think he's got the narrative behind him, dude. If he has his stats and they finish with an overall season record, like I think in the top 4, I think, I would say Oklahoma City and probably the Rockets are my top 2 seeds, only because OKC, defending champs, I got to give them that respect. And the Rockets are a bunch of tryhards. They got a bunch of tryhard guys on there. And I think KD was a very underrated add to that team for what they had to give up to get him. After that, I think it's open, dude. I don't think anybody's for sure better than us.
I just think Jordan mentioned that he was a preseason favorite last year after the finals appearance.
Yeah.
I think the narrative has been there. It's the Mavs, I think, were the 7th seed or whatever they were when they went to the finals. So I don't think they were, he wasn't up for MVP that year. I don't remember who won it that season. But yeah, I think he has all that. Just the Lakers just need the wins.
Yeah.
His numbers to me are kind of secondary because Luka's going to get his numbers anyway, whatever it is. If he plays 65 games at whatever minutes he plays, he's going to get to his numbers. Yep. It's the Lakers wins that all matters here. Like,
I agree.
The Lakers are a top 3 seed. Luka Doncic will get his MVP, and that's what it is.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. One other piece of Laker news, Raj, that I wanted to kind of lightly discuss. The Andrew Wiggins thing has come up again.
Yes, I want to discuss
Mark Stein
this.
And I think Dan Wojcicki have written about it. And I know there's something that you wanted. I haven't got a chance to read everything. I've just read what gets shared on the timeline. Like I said, I haven't been on Twitter very much. People just send me stuff. Be like, "Yo, what do you think about this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let me go talk to Raj on the pod, and we'll figure it out." But tell me, you told me you read something in Dan Wojcicki's article.
Yes. Well, really quick, I'm just going to respond to Ashan because he's saying, I don't think 3+ and 25, 5 and 5. Luka's not averaging 25,
no.
5 and 5. That's
just,
something went really wrong. Luka averages 25, 5. So I'm kind of penciling him. Again, maybe LeBron, Austin, Luka kind of share this, I don't know, the numbers in a way where that changes, but then he wouldn't get the MVP anyway. So I'm kind of expecting Luka to get his numbers. But in any case, so Dan Wojcicki came out with a story today on the Lakers are now interested in Andrew Wiggins in a way that they weren't before. Now again, you could question that, but I'm just giving the story as it's posted, and Dan is extremely good and sourced at what he does. But in any case, so Dan, basically the reasoning Dan gives behind the Lakers now being interested in scrapping Vinay, their plan of hoarding space and having because obviously Andrew Wiggins' contract is goes for another 2 years, I believe. So it would
he has one more year after this year. He has a player
yes,
option for $30 million. Yeah.
right. So he would kind of hamper that free agency for next summer plan, and all these contracts the Lakers just signed all expire before that, right? So Dan's kind of reasoning is this. I'm going to set this up and let you dunk it either way, any way you choose to. So this is an alley oop that I'm throwing. But in any case,
Dan, if you're watching this, we say anything we say comes with love.
No, I think Dan is really sourced and is informed on this. But in any case, his reason, I'm just interested in what you think of the reasoning. That's all.
Yeah.
The reasoning is Luka's contract, obviously, he's signed and extended.
Yeah.
And his play in Eurobasket has kind of replaced him in the topper hierarchy of the league due to the new body that he has and kind of the dominance that he showed over there. The high scoring games, the free throw lines, the free throws that he was able to kind of draw. And I'll just read this one of the closing sentences. The combination of Doncic's contract, his improved physical condition, and the Eurobasket run delivered a not too subtle reminder that planning for the future might get in the way of an opportunity in front of the Lakers now. It's not a given that the Lakers will abandon the caution they've used to build this version of the roster around short-term and expiring deals. However, what they've seen from Doncic over the last month has the organization reassessing things. Where do you kind of sit on, I guess, that new information that Dan has kind of unveiled in his story?
Yeah. So again, not a commentary on Dan's writing, but just a commentary on the logic behind it. I don't believe that, Raj. Like I don't believe that at all. I don't think the Eurobasket had any influence on it. I don't think there has been any reminder set to the Lakers. There's been none because of his play and his newfound condition. I think the Lakers were non-committal to doing anything beyond. They were non-committal to doing anything beyond this course of time because they didn't know Luka was going to extend. Like as soon as Luka extended, I think that is really the main thing that's been like, okay, now we know how much he's going to be on the books for these next however long. We know
why
LeBron,
does that open up the Wiggins things now? Luka extended months ago.
So I don't think it's because I don't think that's what it is. I think what it is it's getting close to training camp. They're 30 days out. You and I have discussed Andrew Wiggins months ago. Like I know there are a few outlets that reported in June, in July, that Andrew Wiggins was going to be potentially available, or the Lakers are interested in Andrew Wiggins. Raj, you and I talked about Andrew Wiggins in May. Like we were on this pod, and I literally asked you, would you trade Rui Hachimura for Andrew Wiggins?
Right.
And you thought about it. And then, we had a really in-depth discussion about his fit. That question didn't come from a random place. That question came from the birdies telling us that there has been some interest in swapping Andrew Wiggins for Rui Hachimura for the same reasons that you're hearing about now, which is freeing up cap space for the Miami, not freeing up cap space, freeing up long-term cap space for the Miami Heat. Obviously, this was before the Terry Rozier situation happened because they were hoping to trade Terry Rozier before the whole FBI probe and stuff like that happened. And now they don't know if they'll even be able to move him because he won't take a buyout and teams want to just kind of use him as an expiring salary. All that stuff when it happens. I don't think anything's changed. I think basically what's happened is that the Miami Heat came to the Lakers. This is what I think has happened, Roger. Miami Heat came to the Lakers and they said, hey, we like Rui Hachimura. Would you trade him to us? We'll give you Andrew Wiggins.
Give me a date on that. Give me a date on that.
I think they did it in May. I think they did it in May. They did it in May. I'll take a step further. I think they did it in May. They said if you're
both
ever
teams eliminated. Both teams
Yeah.
eliminated by this chance.
By the time there, are you interested? The Lakers said, yeah, we might be interested, but we've got some other things where we have to sort out. Luka, LeBron, a lot of stuff has to be sorted out. Miami said, okay, cool. Lakers say, what's a ballpark? What do you think you would want for Andrew Wiggins? And Miami said, we would like Rui, Dalton, and a first round pick. And
Okay.
so the Lakers said, nah, you can go kick rocks. Like, we're not going to do that. And so I think it's been shelved since then. I think
Mm.
that happened in May. I think in June, in July, somebody in Miami decided to um, start telling folks, hey, Andrew Wiggins might be available. He might be tradable for Rui Hachimura or for Gabe Vincent or for whatever smattering of expiring salaries, Maxi Kleber that they have. And, it is what it is. And I think that became news in June, July, and now here we are in August. But the reason why I think it's popped up in August is because now the Lakers are saying, hey, I think we'll revisit that idea now. Like, would you be interested in trading for Andrew Wiggins? Now we know whether LeBron's going to be on the books next year. Now we know how long Luka's going to be on the books. Now we already have DeAndre Ayton. We have Marcus Smart. We have who's the third guy? We got a third guy. Oh, Jake LaRavia
Jake LaRavia.
on the team. So now you've got so much of your roster figured out that really you just need one guy that's left over. And I think the Lakers via our media channels are now broadcasting if Miami's interested in trading Andrew Wiggins and they're trying to get out of their situation. Also, by the way, this Terry Rozier situation is not working out in Miami's favor. They can't seem to move him around. Maybe we can help you out. We're not going to give you a first-round pick, but maybe we can find something that works for you guys. 30 days out from training camp, maybe Miami's a little bit desperate. They're like, we really got to get this situation resolved. We don't even know if Rozier is going to be able to help us, like basketball-wise, where his mental state will be at basketball-wise. So we have to figure something out. We need more bodies. So maybe the Lakers want Miami to come back and be like, all right, we'll give you Rui and Maxi, and maybe that'll be enough for Andrew Wiggins. But I think that's what's happening right now.
Is there a chance that Luka Doncic has made a lot of phone calls this summer?
Yeah.
He has picked up a lot of people's phone numbers.
Yes. Raj, he is rubber stamping everything. DeAndre Ayton, yeah, I want that guy. Marcus Smart, I called him twice.
I just want to mention Andrew Wiggins and Luka Doncic have faced off in a playoff series.
They have.
Where Luka Doncic lost. Andrew Wiggins was one of the main reasonings. He was, in my opinion, the second best player in that series. Defended Luka that entire time. Not saying he stopped Luka Doncic. Obviously, a lesser Dallas team at the time, but there's some history there. I'm not, I don't put on conspiracy hats like you do, but I'd be really interested to know, because I'm sure if Luka Doncic has affinity for Marcus Smart, who guarded him, I believe was Smart on the team? No, Smart wasn't on their finals team.
No, I don't. I think they had Drew, right? Was it Drew on that team?
Yes, no. They had Drew at the time. So,
but they had Jalen guarding Luka, if I remember correctly.
Yes, right.
Majority of the time.
In any case, Luka has an affinity for Marcus Smart on the defensive end. I'm sure there's some there for Andrew Wiggins as well. Another number one pick as well in a previous class. But there's, some more information came out. Renee, Eric Pincus, someone you know very well, and that doesn't just put out stuff blindly.
Very true.
Put out a trade package, and I find this extremely fascinating. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the Lakers basically get Wiggins, Jaime Jaquez, and Drew Timme from the Nets. I didn't know it was still in the league, but in any case,
I think he's a crowd favorite with Brooklyn. I'm gonna have to ask Paul, but he's watching his Eagles, so
played like 6 years, I believe, in college. Extremely very talented college player. The Heat get Rui, Dalton, and the trade exception. Maxi Kleber and money goes to the Nets. But what I find interesting, the Lakers don't give up a first round pick in this deal. Basically give up Dalton and Rui to get Wiggins and Jaime Jaquez, which I'm pretty shocked at that level of talent returning. But I would do this in a pretty quick heartbeat, but just throwing this move at you, what do you think of this kind of
I would do it. I would 100% do it. If the only thing if the only serious consequence is of outgoing is Rui, Dalton, and money, I would do that. I think Maxi is. They have to throw out Maxi out there too, as for unless Brooklyn's absorbing the. Anyways, I would do that. I would Brooklyn. I would do that. Was that 3 players outgoing, 3 players come back, so you're only sending cash out? I think the positional fit for the team becomes incredible. Like, I would immediately start Andrew Wiggins Like it would be Austin, Wiggins,
And you get
Luka,
Jaime
Braun,
Jaquez
Wade.
and Andrew Wiggins.
It'd be incredible. I would absolutely do that trade. You had another wing size body in Jaime Jaquez, local guy,
Very true. UCLA.
UCLA guy. I think that'd be really great. Timmy, you can take it or leave it with his situation, but like I think that's a great trade for the Lakers. I think you obviously were a little concerned that Andrew Wiggins like opts out and goes somewhere else because you do take that risk with him at the player option. But considering the way most of these things go, I don't think the Lakers would do that trade unless they had some confidence that Andrew Wiggins was going to either opt in or maybe extend, opt out and extend for like a better number. That's maybe a little bit more cap friendly. But I would seriously consider that. I mean, I wouldn't even consider it. I would do it. Like if they called me tomorrow and they said we have this trade ready to go, I would do it tomorrow, like immediately right now. So I think that's a great trade for the Lakers. I like the idea of going after Andrew Wiggins. I don't like the idea of giving up a first round pick to go after Andrew Wiggins. I do know that Dalton is technically he is a first round pick. And so obviously we don't want to diminish the value of our own picks in order to just make a trade happen. But I do think Dalton.
But you get a first rounder back in Jaime Jaquez Jr.
And he's a better defensive fit probably, I would say, than what he's probably a better fit in general just for the style of basketball we'd be playing.
Better player.
Mm-hmm. So I would do it, dude. Like I wouldn't even think twice about it. And that would be, Raj, that would take our offseason from being like, I can't even think of the sports term. Like it would be a home run. Like if you landed Wiggins for a deal like that. I think it'd be great for the Lakers.
Yeah, and I don't want to undermine Jaime Jaquez either. I think that I think he hasn't hit the ceiling that I think his rookie year kind of, I guess, people positioned as, right? Mm-hmm. Came in, had an awesome rookie year, was very much compared to my guy Jalen Hood-Schifino way too often. But in any case, Jaime Jaquez had an awesome rookie year, and I think his second season, I guess, wasn't as good, but started right away on a Miami team. I think he'd be excellent. Last thing I want to do with this Wiggins thing, Renee, just devil's advocate a little bit from your side. If the Lakers were to use Eurobasket, I guess, as I don't know, a motivating factor of them believing that, oh, we can't waste this Luka Doncic. Just theorize for me. What do you think they could have in that world? What do you think they could have seen from that to go, oh, this is what we have, and not realize what they had, I guess, before that? Is there anything that you could think of that maybe you saw there that they maybe could have had some inkling? Just want to mention Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, Kurt Rambis, Linda Rambis, all made the trip out to go watch Luka Doncic. I forgot which country they went to, but they did go and watch Luka Doncic courtside and go support.
Yeah.
Front view of Luka and his amongst his Eurobasket teammates. But yeah, is there anything you can think of if, obviously, Dan mentioned the contract as well was part of it, but use, I guess, the improved physical conditioning that he looked that they saw. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what they saw to make them think that they couldn't like project to see. Like maybe the only thing I can think of is maybe they were very curious to see how he was moving because he did have the calf injury. And those have been very, very, like the moment you hear a calf strain or a calf injury nowadays, like in basketball, you're like, I mean, I feel like most teams are like, no, we got to shut you down for like the whole season. We won't even risk it anymore, especially with what happened with Tyrese in the finals, in Game 7 of the finals. And so maybe they wanted to just see how he was moving, but then like at the same time, it's just like, you don't make that trade, Raj. Like you don't trade for Luka if you're worried about, like you don't make the move for Ayton. I mean, granted, you got him for free basically, but like you're not going after You're not going after a guy like Marcus Smart.
Sure.
Like he's like Luka's obviously made it clear that like, no, he said it like publicly in every presser. He's just like, yeah, I'm trying to win. Like there's no future timeline. Like I'm trying to win now. So why would Does that make sense to you though?
Yeah,
I guess I should ask you the question. Does
yeah,
the reasoning make sense for them to do it
so
now?
so the contract part of it doesn't move me as much because Luka was already recruiting players at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
at least I think most, again, we're not in the rooms, but most of us felt like the contract extension was a pretty foregone conclusion, right? Like Luka was going to extend. Now, what the actual numbers would be were kind of up in the air, but we knew he was going to extend. My I guess full theory on this is they did want to see the body transformation in some capacity, right? They did want to see that actually play out before putting every chip into the middle of the table. I can understand that and wanted to at least see that happen, right? It's one thing to talk about it, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do what Luka did this summer, right? Which was, the fasting, the diet of a guy who really had no real urgency to do that from
Mm.
a contractual standpoint. He was going to get the money anyway. From a competitive standpoint, he was one of the top 5 players in the league with the weight he was at. There was nothing crawling on his back other than just his own competitive level. So I think there is some of that. Now, do I think that's a whole reason why they've now turned to Andrew Wiggins? I'm not sure. But I do, maybe there's a level of aggression that they show now that they didn't have months ago. And maybe that's a mistake. I never thought that Luka being bad couldn't be in the equation to me, because
Yeah.
if Luka's bad, then you're screwed anyway. Or if Luka's not Luka
Yeah.
Doncic, then you're screwed anyway. But I guess I can see the reasoning of, oh, okay, this guy is serious. He put his, kind of foot where his mouth is, in terms of, he put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think
Yeah,
what you
put his
just here
mouth,
say was
money
the
where
opposite
his
of what
mouth
you
is.
wanted to
Yeah,
say. Yeah.
so he went and lost the weight. He was very strict about his diet.
Mhm.
Was super intense with his workouts, and I think that showed in his play. And
Can I
his
ask you something?
Yeah.
Let me put my conspiracy hat on. Okay.
Okay. You're the only one that owns one, so you're the one that's gonna have to put it on.
Folks, don't let Raj lie to you. When the camera is off and we're discussing these conspiracy theories off the record, Raj is very, very much putting that hat. He has his own hat somewhere next to him in that room. But anyways,
Yeah, it's not doesn't get viewed in public. Yes.
we gotta be professional. We're media
Yes.
professionals here. Luka has, here's the conspiracy. Luka has put his name on everything. I'm
He
donating to
has.
the city of Los Angeles. I'm doing this for the fans. I'm doing this for Kobe. I'm doing this for the game of basketball. I'm signing this extension in LA. Not going to make you guys go through turmoil worrying about whether I'm going to continually put pressure on the franchise every single year. I'm going to do this now. And by the way, I'm going to give this money to a bunch of kids because I want to pay it forward to those kids. I'm recruiting Marcus Smart. DeAndre Ayton is, was drafted in the same class as him, and my agent represents him. There's plenty of ties to it.
Sure.
Are we sure that this is just not the Lakers' way of trying to tie the Andrew Wiggins acquisition, which they were going to pursue at some point? Maybe they didn't want to do it in May, June, July because it's too expensive, because they wanted to wait to see if they can maybe get a better, more advantageous pricing after free agency's all ended and everybody's been signed. I think Jonathan Kuminga is the only guy, and Quentin Grimes are like the only 2 real RFAs that are left over. Are we sure this is not just the Lakers' way of saying we're doing this for Luka? Luka is stamping this, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that Luka is the reason that we're going to be doing all this, because that's what we've done with everything so far this season.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying using Luka's transformation as the gas pedal to now go and be aggressive in
We
a
were
way.
always interested. The time wasn't right because it was too early. There was free agents that were available. We don't know what Miami was doing. Maybe Miami wasn't ready. They weren't backing off their demand for a first round pick. But we have to have a reason, right? We have to have an impetus. Like there has to be a catalyst. It just seems, the reason why I'm saying it this way is because of this. And I know we're going into this much longer than I think we probably expected to go, but that's what makes this pod what it is. Because the other side of this, Raj, is I'm a little worried about their basketball convictions. if they needed to go to Poland to go watch him play basketball to come to the conclusion that you should go after a guy like Andrew Wiggins. You should have known that like before you even saw him play. Like, hey, this guy is a good basketball fit for what you need like on your roster right now. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't think that was the question. I think the question was, we just committed this much to Luka Doncic contractually. Now, do we want to mess with our flexibility in the future because of what he is now? And I think they wanted to see, like Sean makes the point, Luka's a sicko. He wouldn't be out of shape for long. He was a sicko while he wasn't in shape. I mean, this is a sicko basketball competitive motherfucker that just was not in shape, right? And so I do think there's a level of wanting to see that come to fruition. Now, does that mean you? This is the part that gets tough. Is how did you analyze Luka Doncic before that? Obviously, you mentioned you don't do the trade. I guess in some cases, of course, like you don't turn down that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you're not turning it down, but at the same time, you're not like if you're going to be giving away Anthony Davis, like
right, you're going all in anyway. You're going all in. Yeah, exactly. You're going all in for Luka Doncic anyway, so I understand that part of it. But I do think there was, again, I don't think there was I don't know, hesitation, or they were unsure if Luka Doncic was worth, what they're paying him, or if he was worth what they got. But the guy was, I mean, we can say it blunt, the guy was not in shape.
Fair.
He was not. And so I think there was a level of, we just committed to this guy. Let's see what he is before pushing every chip in the table. You mentioned Ayton came for pretty much free. Marcus Smart came for free. Laravia also free agent that came over, right? And so I do think there was a level, if we're going to put assets into the table, which it looks like it cost. Now we can quibble about if Rui Hachimura is an asset. I think me and you have both tried to explain to people that Rui Hachimura is not just some throwaway player. That is a good basketball player that, at least in my opinion, is played out of position a lot of times. But in any case, Dalton Connect also has kind of lost some of the flair that he came into the league with, but still somebody that I'm sure the Lakers feel like isn't just a throwaway either.
And I mean, honestly, the Lakers do have a roster logjam. Like we've discussed this also in prior pods. Like you're in a situation now because you've added Marcus Smart, you've added Jake LaRavia, Ayton bolsters in a very important void that we had on the roster. But with LaRavia and Smart now, like everything gets a little tight. Like the minutes become a little bit hard to distribute. Braun's going to play his 30 plus minutes. Luka's going to play his 30 plus minutes. Austin's going to play his 30 plus minutes. Smart's probably playing at least, we don't have to do the breakdowns of everything, but there's not going to be enough minutes to go around. Definitely not going to be enough shots to go around with some of the new additions that we have on the team too as well. So there is a little bit of a roster logjam. You need guys that can be high impact without having to score the basketball, where Jaime Jaquez can help or Andrew Wiggins can help. So I'll be very interested to see how it goes. All in all, for the original question of just kind of buying the reasoning behind it, do I buy the reason behind it? Yes and no. I do buy that them seeing Luka probably did convince them to some degree that they should be more aggressive about going after a guy like Andrew Wiggins, trying to compete, become more competitive now. The only thing I just don't buy is the timeline. I think they were always interested in doing it. I'll give the front office credit that. I don't think they need to go to Poland to watch him play to come to that conclusion. Sure. I think they just had to wait for when teams are more interested in moving guys, because they're like, all right, we've tried for 2 months now and nobody wants this guy. We can't get a better offer. So maybe we have to revisit this conversation. And I think the Lakers are broadcasting that to the Miami Heat, which is always funny to me because it's just like, bro, just call Pat Riley. Just be like, yo, give him up. Like, how does this work? But anyway,
Pat will be here in was it February or whenever the statue is unveiling. I want to make clear, because I think DV2U was saying doesn't think Luka's Eurobasket performance swayed the Lakers. I don't think it was the Eurobasket performance per se. I think it's more the commitment to being the top athlete and what that entails. And I think they wanted to, I'm just reaching here, but if they're looking at that in terms of the regimen that he was put on, and see if he committed to it, and he did. And Wiggins is a weird name to attach to this, because it's not like, it'd be different if it's like Giannis or something like that. But I do think they were hesitant to throw assets into the table, at least in terms of hurting their flexibility going forward for a team that they know probably is maybe one more swing away from being a title favorite. Both of us think this team is very good, but
Very good.
you can analyze that in terms of them being favorites. But in any case, yeah, I think we'll see what that kind of turns into. Training camp, as George mentions, is a few weeks away. Teams having some buyer's remorse, or not. I don't know if it's buyer's remorse because Wiggins was in February acquired. But in any case,
can I say this though, Roger? The Lakers are in a great position to not be forced into making trades. Like that, honestly, like them taking care of the Ayton thing, the Smart thing, the Laravia thing. Obviously, we're hoping that Vando gets healthy, and we get some, a better season. Though, I think Gabe was fine, especially defensively last year. Obviously, he was hurt and stuff like that. But this is a very rare position that the Lakers are in, because for a while now they haven't been in this position. And look, if guys get hurt early in the season, we could be in that position again. But they're not in a position where they have to force trades. They don't have to, they're not going into training camp with, oh my God, there's this gigantic glaring void or gigantic glaring identity void with this roster that needs to be resolved. And so I think it's a little, it's not a new experience for us, but I think for some of the newer Laker fans, it's certainly a new experience, because you've always constantly been reminded that the Lakers roster just isn't good enough in some capacity. And I think they're pretty good. I think this is now just like can we get the ice cream for free, as opposed to having to pay for it, that sort of thing. I can't think of a good metaphor, but that's all I could come up with. But it'll be good. It'll be interesting to see if that deal, if Pincus is prophetic and that deal is on the table and the Lakers take it. Hats off to him, because we know he doesn't make stuff up when he comes up with some of those ideas. Raj, that was a lot. I didn't even think we'd talk that much about the Wiggins thing, but that we got real deep and philosophical with it. So I think that was really good. That was a really good conversation. We need to transition to the other LA team. Is there anything else you want to cover about this Wiggins team before we do that?
I think that's good. I think it's time to talk about the other team over here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, we need to talk about them. I'm not going to dunk on the franchise. I think there's enough Laker content creators that are trying to do that, and whatnot. And shout out to our guy Dime. He's a great Clippers fan, and a great ambassador for their team. So I certainly don't want to do that. The Clippers have this sort of shell company payments, money laundering, cap circumvention thing going on. We don't have to get into crazy details about it, but I think Pablo Torre has done some excellent reporting on this. And shout out to him, because I know he got a lot of crap. I remember seeing that clip of Bill Simmons kind of talking about him and his journalism skills. And I was just like, oh, that's not good. And now Pablo Torre might, depending on what happens at the end result of this investigation that the NBA is doing, his reporting could fundamentally alter the entire, he is a chapter now, in Clippers history, depending on what the end result of this. And it's incredible journalism on his investigative journalism on his part. So hats off to him. And I think it's journalism in its purest form. But let's talk about what's actually happening here. The Clippers are allegedly, Steve Ballmer allegedly is through a minority owners company, one of the minority owners of the Clippers, the alternate governor of the Clippers companies, is allegedly accused of circumstantially, whatever the term is legally, paying Kawhi more than what he's actually allowed to within the
circumventing the cap.
Circumventing the cap. And that is not a small thing. They can get in a lot of trouble for that. We'll see what Adam Silver decides based on what the end result is. What do we do about this? Where do we even start discussing this?
Yeah.
I'm not even a lot of people are like, oh, you've got to take away 5 first round picks. You got to void Kawhi's contract. You got to fine Ballmer. First of all, fining Ballmer does nothing. It means nothing.
Zero.
The dude was willing to circumvent the cap for
DeAndre Jordan.
basically paid double the salary and trade 5 first-round picks and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to get Paul George just to make this all get to this point. So I don't think he cares in that regards. But like, it's the spirit of the rule that's being broken. Like it's like you are not playing on an even playing field when it came to this free agent. And for the Lakers, it matters because if you guys remember when we traded Anthony Davis, ESPN was saying there's no way the Lakers could create max space to sign Kawhi as a third star. And the Lakers sent Mo Wagner and Isaac Bonga and a couple second round picks to Atlanta. And Kawhi's like, and all of a sudden we had max cap space for Kawhi. And then he ended up choosing the Clippers for what this sounds like. What do we do? Where do we go from here? What are your thoughts on it?
So have you heard both the Pablo Torre episodes? I
haven't watched it in entirety, but
okay.
Yeah.
So basically, it's funny because it's not like this league is full of morality, right? It's not like
100%.
these owners all play by coloring inside the lines or anything like that, right? But I'm sure there's a unwritten rule, as my old username was. There's an unwritten rule is that just don't make us look dumb, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of the way that I'm sure a lot of this works. Just don't make us look dumb, and I think that's how the league looks at this, right? The league is supposed to vet every single marketing partner, but Adam Silver went on national TV and said he's never heard of Aspiration, who was on the Clippers.
I've never heard of Aspiration. I was just like, what is this company? It's a tree planting service?
It's not our job to know the Aspiration, but the league is a $300 million supporting brand partner of the Clippers. They were on their jerseys, I believe, and they were into its opening partner, whatever that was. It's supposed to be vetted by the league, and so obviously the league didn't do enough research. Don't want to go through the whole story of these two guys from Harvard who started this company, a tree planting company that's become extremely fraudulent. But the only thing that matters here, and I think Kawhi Leonard being who Kawhi Leonard is, Vinay, is what just makes this story so interesting. And this is what I want to ask you: of what in the world do you do with the consequences of this? So basically, Kawhi Leonard has a 3-year, $28 million contract with this company, Aspirations, under his LLC K2 Aspirations. And so KL2 Aspirations. It's a very dumb name to put a company like that. But in any case, this company, by the way.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
If Pablo never mentions, if he never does this,
they get away with it. This never comes out.
Right? Like, isn't it crazy that it is entirely possible that this, even just aside from Ballmer, this has gone. It's possible that this has happened throughout the history of the league for a very long time.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And nobody has ever investigated it because they didn't care to, and they were just like, whatever. And that's the other part of this that's so fascinating to me, because it's just like, I'm sure stuff like this has happened before. It's not possible.
Absolutely.
And Pablo, hats off to him. But go ahead, finish your thought.
No, yeah. So, so obviously he has a contract with this company, Aspirations, and Pablo Torre finds out in the contract that Kawhi is literally does not have to do anything.
Nothing.
He is not required to do anything under this contract rules, which fits who Kawhi Leonard is, right? Not a public figure at all. He's the highest paid marketing guy from them. Some of the names on this, I'm not a movie guy, but the Iron Man guy, Robert Downey Jr., I guess is one of the people. Yeah. Drake is a person that was on this. Doc Rivers is a person that's on this. And Kawhi Leonard made more than all those guys combined from Aspirations. Aspirations also, Vinay, pays him more than his New Balance shoe deal.
That's insane.
Which is not only insane, Kawhi Leonard does commercials for New Balance, and his deal for Aspirations is more than his New Balance deal. And then Pablo came out yesterday with the report that, so the Clippers, you mentioned minority owner. The Clippers have their ownership group is 99% Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
1% this guy named David Wong, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
Yes. Harvard roommates with Steve Ballmer. In any case, he made a $1.9 million donation to a company that was going bankrupt according to all their financial legal.
Yeah.
When that company then paid Kawhi Leonard $1.7 million 9 days later, and then fired their whole squad. David Wong, by the way, I know you haven't listened to the episode. I don't want to ruin the episode for everybody, but I guess David Wong's daughter works at Aspirations as the project manager, whatever location. Vinay, if this is all cap circumvention, what is the penalty? I honestly have no idea how you, because I think I'll just finish my thought here.
Yeah.
I think it's past the point where you can do you either have to do a real punishment or you have to believe that this is all nothing, right? This can't be a slap on the wrist to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't middle ground this and go $100,000 fine.
Oh,
like,
no, bro.
This either you believe that this is all, because, you know, people saying they were sloppy. Like, this would have never gone out if Aspirations doesn't go bankrupt and all their creditors are public. And two, if Pablo Torre isn't a psychomaniac. That credit to Pablo Torre, who I think it's awesome when someone has a niche and they completely dominate it to a point where they create their own market.
Has Pablo gone on ESPN? I think he does his own pod now, right? He
does his own, and it's distributed by The Athletic. So he
by The Athletic.
Kind of has.
So he can't go on ESPN. Okay.
He's been on Bill Simmons' pod, but no, he hasn't been on ESPN. But I mean, the story has dominated.
Because the reason why I'm asking is because they've had I've seen clips of Brian Windhorst commenting on the legality, and I was just like, bro, is Brian Windhorst a lawyer? Like, why is he speaking on whether this is serious or not? Like, why don't you just have Pablo go on ESPN and openly say what his reporting is finding? Because that would be great ratings for ESPN. And then I realized for a second, I was like, oh, shoot, Steve Ballmer went up there and did an interview with Ramona Shelburne. And I was like, they're not going to put Pablo up there now.
A disaster of an interview. My God. Which showed, I think, the urgency of the situation, that Steve Ballmer felt like he had to go up and defend himself. But yeah, Vinay, if this is all, well, first of all, do you believe that the Clippers are doing cap circumvention through this manner? And two, what is the punishment for this? What's a just punishment for this?
Do I think they're doing cap circumvention? I don't know, but it looks like it. It definitely looks like they're doing cap. It almost sounds like this guy that is Steve Ballmer's friend, or whoever this 1% owner is, functionally exists to do this. What Pablo has uncovered, which is, funnel payments to Kawhi through a legal company. And obviously it would have to be somebody that Ballmer trusts and not ever tell anybody what was going on and that sort of thing. It have to be, because this is a pretty big deal. I don't know if they're doing it or not. I know we'll find out if the NBA is doing it or what the NBA finds. It really does look like it. I think the circumstantial evidence looks really, really fishy. Even forget the large amounts of money. That second thing about we're going bankrupt, here's $2 million from Steve Ballmer. Oh, by the way, we're going to take $1.75 million and give that to pay Kawhi, was kind of, maybe there's a legal explanation for it. Maybe he was owed that money. When you go bankrupt, there's a list of creditors that you have to pay off with whatever money you have left over. And maybe the minority owner is like, yo, help me out because he's friends. Who knows? I'm just trying to play devil's advocate for that one. But it looks like it. It certainly looks like it. And Raj, if this is verified cap circumvention,
give me the punishment that you got.
Kawhi his contract's not getting voided. I'm telling you that right now. It's not going to get voided because that's
what owners are asking for.
The players union is going to fight like hell to make sure that his contract doesn't get voided, because it's going to be one of those things where the players union is just going to protect the player. They won't punish the player. Like, they're always going to try. They're always going to
once you circumvent the cap, Vinay, you lose. The NBA is the judge and the jury in this capacity, because if you've broken the CBA rules, right? If you're we can credit Kawhi, take all the money you can, but if you do something outside of that that CBA, now we can't protect him. In any case, keep going.
Yeah. So I don't think he's going to get punished. Maybe his agent will get punished. Kawhi can play the plausible deniability, which is, my uncle does everything for me.
What a smart agent, by the way. I had to learn his name through Pablo Torre's podcast. No clue who Kawhi's agent was. I know who Uncle Dennis is, obviously, but Kawhi's agent just sits in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Uncle Dennis probably gets penalized. He probably takes the fall, as you like it. But I think the punishment for the organization of the Clippers would be a massive fine, massive. whatever the highest number is that's legally allowable in the CBA is probably what it's going to be, because I think they do have limits for what the fines are supposed to be.
They do.
But I don't think there's a limit on the pick penalties, like the draft equity and stuff like that you can lose. And if this is like verified, he might smoke them for like half a decade. Like he might just say, and it might not be one of those things where it's just like you just forfeit it. Like, you remember that Jalen Brunson thing when they said that Jalen started talking to the Knicks before the because of the tampering period, and they lost
the second round pick. Yes,
they lost a second round pick, but that was like still kind of minor because it was just like, all right, second round pick. If they're a good team, it won't really matter because it'll be late in the draft. Like Silver, if this is verified cap circumvention, if I'm a rival owner, if I'm the Lakers, if I'm Mark Walters or Vivek or Joe Lacob, somebody in the Pacific Division, I'd be like, bro, take 10 years worth of first round picks away from them. Why wouldn't you? I'm taking a rival out of existence of ever being able to use the draft to compete with me. Like, I don't have any sympathy for the owner, unless I myself have been doing it, but I'm not, and he knows that. But I don't have sympathy for him. You got the money, so I know the money's not going to bother you. You got to eat the picks. And so I think that's, and Adam Silver's been one of those guys, bro. Like he did with the Sterling thing, where he's just like, no, this is not a temporary ban. Like, you're banned for life. You can never come back to the NBA. And I think he's going to make an example out of Ballmer if this is true.
I think the tough part is, number one, Steve Ballmer and the Clippers host the All-Star game this year.
Oh my God.
So,
Raj, what is up with that franchise, bro?
So, Into a Dome is the host of the All-Star weekend festivities this year, right? That's a very conflict of interest, right? If you destroy this owner, like it's tough. And Steve Ballmer obviously has more resources than anybody. He has more money than everybody. He's gonna fight this to the death. Even though the NBA has full jurisdiction here. I find this so interesting. You said Kawhi Leonard's contract is not going to be voided, and I think I agree with you to that. That's a very tough thing to go to, but Clippers don't have first round picks really going forward. They've traded a lot of them out the door.
Yeah.
So like the punishment would be on hold for a while because they don't even own their picks.
Yeah.
So, and again, I don't think money does anything to this franchise.
You know what's a penalty, Raj? You want to know what's a real penalty?
Yes,
the pick penalty. If they say, if the league says that you have to forfeit, like, let's just say they come up with a number, you have to forfeit your next 5 first round picks, and we get to pick which ones they're going to be whenever they show up. So if they try to, like, let's say that the Clippers are like, oh, shoot, we lost X amount of picks. We're going to trade Kawhi for like 3 first round picks to some team that really wants to win a championship, like right now, like the Knicks, right? And we're going to get 3 first round picks from them. The league, it would be insane, smart, but insane, if Adam Silver said, yeah, where you have to forfeit 5 first round picks, but it's conditional. We're going to choose when that happens. And even though you don't have first round picks right now, we're not going to dock you for the ones in 2035. We're going to wait until you guys actually have first round picks. So then that way you can't go and trade Zubac for like 2 really good first round picks, because we're going to take those 2. You're going to forfeit those 2 picks based on my discretion. You get what I'm saying? Like they can't like maneuver their way around it. That would be the most wicked outcome for those guys if they did something nasty like that.
100%. They don't own a first round pick till 2029, so it would have to be on. It would have to be on hold. The way I want to kind of not close the conversation, but kind of frame this, Renee, is I am not surprised at all that a guy with Steve Ballmer's resources and competitive level, right? Like, look what he's done since he's gotten to the Clippers, and he's been kind of the beacon for, if like that's what I want a sports owner to be.
New ownership,
like, super motivated. He's at every game. He's cheering on the team.
Yeah.
And he's also put his money where his mouth is. He's built a building. He's burned down buildings to build a building, right?
Yeah.
Like he is.
Facility. Yeah.
Yes. Into a Dome. I went saw a concert there. Beautiful arena for that. Have not seen a game there yet, but absolutely in an incredible arena to go to. Very futuristic. I think he's put as much resources as he can, but I am not surprised that he would go overboard.
That's what I
Go
was gonna
right.
say. Can you fault him for being willing to like do whatever it takes, even if it's slightly illegal?
I,
Not slightly;
I
it's completely illegal.
I can fault him, but that's like, but I'm not surprised at him doing it, right? Like, so in
Yeah.
2015, he got fined 250,000 Vinay for trying to give DeAndre Jordan extra endorsement deals that were outside the CBA, right? 250,000. That's for DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
What's got lost to this in me is people going, "Oh, you did all that for Kawhi Leonard." Kawhi Leonard in 2019 was absolutely an absurd player,
Yeah.
and a player that good doesn't hit free agency. Like, they just
Yeah.
don't. 2 Finals MVPs at 29 years old, coming off a championship, and Steve Ballmer's like, "I can get that guy. What do you want? Like, extra hotel? Like, what are you asking for, Dennis? Like,
You don't
oh, we
want
got
to come to LA to practice? You can practice in San Diego. Don't worry about it. Oh, you need a car service every time? Sure, no worries. Oh, don't
yeah,
worry.
right." And
2 houses? Where do you want them? Next to the arena or Palisades? Anywhere.
that, like, to me, again, I have no law like, pedigree or anything. But I'm not shy about that in any case. But overall, evidence feels pretty freaking overwhelming to me. And I thought Pablo Torre, obviously his investigation has been great. He had a conversation with Mark Cuban, which I also listened to. And my favorite part was he's going, "All right, so once Kawhi got here, what happened?" And Mark's like, "Well, they gave everything for SGA." He's like, "Yeah, who asked for that?" He's like, "Kawhi." He's like, "All right. So what did they not give?" He's like, "Nothing. They gave him all the picks. They gave him SGA." He's like, "All right, then when would it stop?" Like, these is just continued ass from Kawhi. And so, I don't know. This feels pretty overwhelming to me. Again, I have a lot of friends that are Clipper fans. I mean, the guy, Justin, Jamal, Dime, you mentioned, all people who are very good at, covering the Clippers and what they do. But I don't know what the punishment could be. I have no idea. The only thing we can go off is the Joe Smith thing, which I wasn't even watching basketball at the time. But 5 first-round picks for that, which, I mean, that is a lot. And I'm sure Minnesota took a while to recover from that. But the Clippers don't have first-time picks in 2029. And money is no fine for Steve Ballmer.
Yeah. It's nothing. I mean, to a lot of owners, it's a lot of the new owners. It's the fine isn't that big of a deal. So it's not even just Ballmer. What is the percentage chance, Raj? 0 to 100 that Kawhi's player option is the last he retires after this contract expires?
He retires? Wow. How old is Kawhi Leonard now?
It might be 34. Yeah. He'd be like 36, I think, by the time he retires.
So I don't know in terms of retirement. What I do know is Kawhi doesn't seem like a guy to me that's going to be hanging on. You know what I mean? Not saying he doesn't love basketball, but isn't going to be, I don't know, coming off the bench or taking non-max deals, right? Like, once it's done, it's done. Like, he's not going to Vince Carter it and go around and
to different teams and whatnot.
Yeah. Like, I just don't see that from him. Again, I don't know how I can fault Kawhi either in this, because it's like, get your money. Like, if you can get this.
Look, man, if I'm Kawhi, I'm just going to be like, yo, I just do whatever Uncle Dennis tells me, bro. He told me to sign this contract. I signed this contract. I just go and I go to Padres games and enjoy breakfast burritos down in San Diego, Rancho Santa Fe, wherever it is that he lives. But I would just play ignorant. I just be like completely oblivious to it. I mean, Kawhi could do it. If there's anybody who could act like he has no clue what's going on, it's Kawhi, dude.
All right, so, I want you to be the Clippers.
My answer is 90%. Right.
Okay.
I think after this contract, he's done.
Wow.
He's done. I think the league's going to be like, we know what you did, and whether you were a willing party or knowing party or not.
Yeah.
I think you should.
He's probably made. I'm not counting pockets, but probably is fine financially in terms of what he's been able to do.
He's probably making an extra 5 to. I'll count his pockets, bro. 5 to 10 mil a year. So he was probably, if his max salary was like 40 to 50 mil a year, 45 to 50 mil a year,
he's probably up like 500, 400, $500 million.
He's probably pocketing.
And he's very cheap. He's notoriously cheap. But if you're the Clippers, all right, and I'm the big lawyer group that the NBA just brought in to investigate this. All right, you're the Clippers here, and I'm going to you and going, all right, how do you explain this no-show job marketing deal with Kawhi that you, Steve Ballmer, you've put in $50 million of your own money to support this company, and then David Wong, you've given $1.5 million or $2 million to now pay. But let's forget about that. Kawhi has a no-show job with a company that sponsored your team. How do you I don't understand how you explain, like, again, this is where don't make me look dumb is where I go to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure, I'm not accusing LeBron of this, okay, but I'm sure LeBron has some deals where he doesn't have to do much, where like the ask is probably LeBron James, you are associated with our company, and
Yeah.
that helps us, right? Like, I think
Yeah,
Drake for Aspirations just did a quote in some Rolling Stone,
yeah, I feel
whatever,
like
big scene. But I mean, it's something where it's like, okay, he did something for the company. Kawhi Leonard, by the way, getting paid way more than all these people from Aspiration, and $7 million a year, again, more than a shoe deal. But if you're the Clippers, man, how do you explain this? How do you?
So I
What's your
think what
explanation?
Ballmer's trying to do is he's trying to say that he
He
got scammed
had
by the
nothing.
company. That was what the interview with Ramona was about, right?
Yes.
He was basically saying, I gave that money to Aspiration and I got scammed out of the deal. I didn't know
what
they
does
were.
that have to do with?
He goes, I didn't. But dude, the part that's so silly is he's just like, I had no idea what they had going on with Kawhi. Which is
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? You've got you've got the branding on the bobble. I know Clipper fans are sharing the bobblehead and stuff like that. I think Ballmer's trying to play ignorant, and it's just like
He's trying to do plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah. And then Kawhi's gonna do that. He's gonna say, I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, Kawhi's the last person they talk to, in my opinion, because I mean, I don't know how you get to Kawhi in this, but
It's gonna be Ballmer's gonna. I don't know how you would explain that away, other than what he's literally said, which is,
Vinay,
I invested in them and they took my money.
The VP chairman of the Clippers, who I just mentioned, owns 1% of the Clippers. 99% is owned by Ballmer, who was roommates with Steve Ballmer at Harvard. These dudes are best friends, right? David Wong was mentioned as one of the leaders at.
Somebody's gonna Pablo's the next thing Pablo's gonna release is like a picture of like his buddy feeding him his like wedding cake. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like Indian weddings where you like feed your family members. You're gonna find out that like David Wong was like the minister at Steve Ballmer's wedding. Oh God, please don't tell me that's new.
But they are super close, those two. Like, dude, he was, if you go look into he was one of the leading people at Intuit Dome. Like, at the opening of the Intuit Dome, Steve Ballmer mentioned David as like one of the leaders of their product design. And those two, again, he said they known each other since 1975 at Harvard, when both of them were going to Harvard. That guy's daughter worked at Aspirations. So you, like, I don't know how, unless those two don't talk ever, but
yeah,
I don't know how you explain this. And like, I think the story has dominated headlines for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you explain this out, but I find it super fascinating. And I don't think Kawhi's contract is going to get voided either. But
yeah, I think so.
Last thing I want to mention, because I rang alarm bells on this, Vinay, in 2022, I think it was.
Yeah.
And nobody heard me. Okay. No one
Vindicate
cared.
yourself right now.
No one cared.
Tell the world.
And I rang doorbell. I rang fire alarms on this. The Clippers and the Blazers had a trade, and it still pisses me off.
Oh, I know.
And no one nationally would do anything except praise the Clippers for their ingenuity and like for getting this done. And oh my God, look how smart the Clippers are for getting this trade done. I was like, can we talk about the Portland side for 2 seconds of this trade? And no one wanted to talk about it. So now I just, again, if we're opening up negotiations anyway, I just want to say there was a trade.
Oh my God.
The Portland Trailblazers, Vinay, at this time, you got to remember, Robert Covington was a very sought-after wing piece. He was like a starting two. Everyone's like, we need a two-way wing. We need a Robert Covington.
He was a great player, great role player.
He was incredible. Norm Powell, who they just traded Gary Trent Jr. for. Remember this. They didn't want to pay Gary Trent, so they're like, all right, we're going to go get Norm Powell from Toronto. Just won the NBA title, right, with Kawhi, by the way, any case. they traded Norm Powell and Robert Covington Jr. for Eric Bledsoe, who was almost out of the league, Keon Johnson, Justice Winslow. Again, all these players who were definitely, let's just say, did not hit their NBA kind of peaks.
Yeah.
And a second round pick. And I went going, what the F is going on? Like, and no one listened to me, but no one heard me. And I'm going, this makes no sense. I need an investigation. And no one decided to jump on me with this. And I just would like, if we're going to investigate anyway, can we go back and look at this deal? Because it made no sense at the time. And it still makes no sense at all.
Oh, my God. I remember this. The reason why I'm laughing so much is because I remember you in the chat being, yo, what the fuck is this? You were so mad. Because the first thing that happened was everybody, you know what Laker fans do? They were like, oh, Rob could never do this.
Right. Yes.
We were like, bro, anybody could do this trade.
Nobody could do this trade. Like, how the hell did you get Portland to accept this bullcrap? And then they went and used the money to pay Jeremy Grant. I was like, oh my God, dude, what in the world did they do?
And yeah, I remember. I'm laughing so much because I remember everybody in the chat at the time, we were like, bro, this is the most ridiculous trade because Norm Powell was a very productive player, a very good player.
He was awesome on a good contract.
Yeah, it was like a 3, 4, 5 kind of defender who could play small ball 5 and that sort of thing at the time. And they were productive players, I would say, for the Clippers. Norm obviously just recently got traded to Miami, but had like a 50, 40, 90 season. Was having like a 50, 40, 90 season like through the year.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. Also, the Blazers, I think they recently got sold. So hopefully that regime figures out whatever's going on there too as well.
I just would like to look at some wire transfers during that time.
I know there's been a couple Laker fans. I think our guy Ralph.
Yes.
He has been square in the crosshairs of many Clipper fans because he's been posting about Zubac, who took a crazy under the market deal.
Every 3 years he takes some deal where everyone going, how did they get so much for that? It's like, man, just saying.
And then, I think he posted about the Nick Batum thing. I think it wasn't him, but it was
right, yeah.
One of those HP basketball or one of those guys. I might be misauthoring who it was, but somebody had posted about. I think it might have been Nate Duncan.
Nate Duncan, yes, that's who posted
about Nick Batum passing up on like double-digit, basically the annual things to stay with the Clippers for the minimum. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, this now all this stuff looks very crazy and I look, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if that legal team looks beyond like just the Kawhi thing, and they're like, hey, how is this? Was he doing this with other players and stuff like that? And if it does turn into being more than just a situation with Kawhi, and maybe they find out that this aspiration company was functioning as a payment center for, like a money laundering scheme, basically to pay other players, that's going to be bad. And I think it'll be even worse for Steve Ballmer at that point. Roger, if I was Steve Ballmer and I get caught, I would go the other way. I'd get on TV and I'd be like, Adam Silver's holding the league back. He needs to raise the salary cap limit.
Well, this is the other part. Is that
double the salary cap, bro?
Well, Steve Ballmer probably knows where some bodies are buried, right? I mean, that's another dangerous part about this too. You want to look in my closet? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to open this closet?
That's what Mark Cuban's like, yo, I'm on Steve's side, bro. Yeah, I got you. Don't ask me why Dirk only played for $5 million a year.
Oh yeah, you want to see Tim? You sure you want to go open up why Tim Duncan was taking lesser value deals every single season?
Oh my God. Everything's a soap opera now, dude. Everything is. We can't have a normal off season ever. But of course, we're laughing at the situation. I do feel for the Clipper fans because I do think they have a great team. They have a great arena. They're a great fan base. But it sucks when this stuff that's out of control, out of your hands, kind of stuff happens. Injuries obviously is a thing every team goes through, but this is so out of the ordinary. And one thing I will say is I've been joking with my buddies. Raj, if let's say that they're found guilty,
okay,
right, and they get hit with the fines and all that sort of stuff, will it have been worth it for everything that you had to do for Kawhi? Like you're talking about the picks you traded Shea, the fines that you're going to eat, dealing with his load mat. Like if this thing, like somebody posted, I don't think it's true, like that he was doing it because of this, but like he had missed X amount of games up until he finally got that $2 million payment, and then all of a sudden he's not missing a single game. I don't think that's actually what happened. Like that's the reason why I think his knee was probably just messed up. Like if you look at this in hindsight of everything, if this comes out to be a guilty verdict against him, and let's say they have to eat 3 to 5 first round picks being forfeited. Let's say Kawhi gets to play out his contract or whatever. Is it worth it? Was it worth it?
Yeah, see, that's funny because the Thunder just won the title too, right?
Yeah.
And that's
And the Thunder win the title. Yeah.
Shea wins MVP, right? The summer that this happens, Shea also wins MVP and Finals MVP. And a little unknown fact is that Jalen Williams is also a Clippers pick. That's a pick that they got from, so the Thunder's future is basically not Chet Holmgren, obviously, but Thunder's future and Jalen Williams and SJ is basically handed to them on the platter by the Clippers. The tough part that I can't get over, I just have 2019 so vividly in my mind, and I think every team, like Kawhi Leonard, just put it blatantly, as most NBA stars are, Vinay, they are worth, like Kawhi Leonard is worth an extra $30 million a year. If you can, if that gets you to get Kawhi Leonard, especially putting the context of what Steve
we
Ballmer,
say that about Bron. Like Bron's worth double his salary in terms of like the business revenue he brings in.
100%. And every single, like, I don't know if every team would have given all of that, but people are forgetting Paul George was also top 3 in MVP, I think, that season right before it. He was also under 30. Kawhi was under 30. You're pairing 2 of the best wings in the league together on a team that just won, I think, 48 games.
Oh, I remember the graphic. Michael and Scotty.
Yes. Right. Yes. Who's the Clippers were, that team obviously blew up for other reasons, but like Kawhi was freaking a monster coming off that season. So was it worth it? That's the tough part, right? Because if you're a Clipper fan, you're going, damn, like we get all these sanctions and like we got one conference finals out of it, and that conference finals, Kawhi didn't play a single minute. So that's tough to kind of go back. Obviously now, obviously it's not worth it now. You'd rather keep Shea's better than both of them, which is kind of nutty to think about. Like, when do you think Shea passed Paul George? 2 seasons ago?
Paul George? I think once he was able to play like a full 2 seasons. 2 seasons.
2 seasons, he passed Paul George.
I don't think Paul George's decline has been pretty deeply connected to his injury. I think the shoulder injury that's been kind of hampered him. I think after that Western Conference Finals run, it's just been kind of his health hasn't been good enough to allow him to be there.
That was 2021, I believe. Yeah.
I feel like then at that point they were like kind of neck and neck.
Yeah.
And Shea was just not consistent because even Shea had some injury things that he was going through. They were probably neck and neck, and then Shea really kind of passed him up.
Some fake injuries. Thunder were kind of don't worry about it. Just sit down a little bit. But
red shirt the first season, so you can just spend all the off-season training. Anyways,
I mean, for us, it's tough watching Caruso with Thunder. I can't imagine watching Shea. Like, imagine you trade a young finals like MVP that was on your team, and now he's with another team, and to bring it worse, insult to injury. Now Kawhi is getting caught for getting paid under the table. I don't know. I just find this so fascinating. And again, I have no surprise Steve Ballmer would go to extensive lengths to pay players. I think George makes who made a good point that every team is already doing this. I don't think Lakers are doing this. No. I don't think. I
think every team, there's a limit to what every team does, and I think the limit that always gets tested is similar to the one that the Knicks got tagged for, which was the tampering before the tampering period is allowed. I think that's a real thing. I think all teams do it. I think agents have conversations about
absolutely
player movement long before the appropriate period happens. I think it just happens in hearsay. I don't think they're like official put it on my Outlook calendar meetings that happen. I think that's a normal practice in that basketball's life. Cap circumvention is not something that is happening everywhere. It's just not. It's too dangerous. in terms of what it does to the perception of the league, that I think owners don't do stuff like that because they're really worried about it. So I think that's why I asked you that question at the start, Raj. If Pablo never does this journalism, if he never investigates this, do we ever know? Do we ever find out?
I think the answer is no. I really don't think we ever find out. I think if Aspirations never goes bankrupt, you don't find out, right? Because the only reason Pablo Torre has access to this paperwork is because they filed bankruptcy. So their creditors became public. I believe I have that right. If someone wants to correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure I understood that correctly. That like I guess they went bankrupt and he was able to kind of get this paperwork and stifled through it and found this KL2 thing, which led him down 80 other rabbit holes, and now he's on the Clippers whiteboard in red ink. I'm sure in their building.
So it's a very, I think it's gonna be very interesting to see how long. I don't think Adam wants this to drag out into the regular season. He's gonna try and get this concluded sooner than later because he probably doesn't want this to be front page on ESPN. Like as soon as the season started, you got new TV partners and like new media deal, and like I'm sure he doesn't want this to be a recurring story.
Yeah, we're an hour and a half. We don't have to go too long at this, but I don't want to get out of here without doing this.
Yeah, I know you want to discuss this, so go for it.
Adam Silver went on whatever he did, public conversation, speaking at a press conference, and he said, I think he was asked about the streaming sites getting taken down or the price of the streaming go up.
I think the accessibility of streaming, because it's on so many different channels. Yeah,
right. And he basically said Twitter's free, TikTok is free, and YouTube highlights are free because this is a highlight sport. I have thoughts. What were your initial takes from that?
Dude, I think that's a horrendous thing to say. Like, I genuinely think that's horrendous. Like, I'm sure he didn't mean it in a malicious manner, but it's just like, for us, we watch all nuances of the game. Like, we try not to miss any small parts of the game that we can. And we watch blowouts both ways. We watch when we get blown out. We watch when we're blowing other teams out. We watch games where our stars aren't even suited up to play just because we want to watch the guys that we want. And I think it's a huge disservice to, I think the casual fan probably does look at the NBA as, I just have to watch highlights. I mean, you and I know for a fact that we can go and sit down with other Laker fans, and as soon as they start talking about certain things that happen on the court, we know whether they watched the game or not, and whether they were just using, Twitter highlights to form their analysis. So I think it sucks that the commissioner of the league is saying that. I would wish that he said something more about trying to make the league more accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
I wish, you can't really control how somebody phrases something, and because the intention behind it might not be what you interpret it as. But I didn't like it, but I hope he, at some point when he does a public appearance, he corrects himself and he says that, we want you to watch all 2 hours and 30 minutes. But if you miss it, you can always watch some highlights. I would hope that he doesn't try to encourage people to watch highlights, because this game is too wonderful to be reduced to just highlights.
Yeah, I thought, again, I think he meant well in terms of not trying to, tell people who can't afford streaming, then, you have no ability to view the game, right? And I think that was kind of the thought process behind it, being, trying to appeal to the person who can't spend $1 on streaming in any case. You can go and find the leagues elsewhere. But obviously, I don't think it came out right. And, I think it's disrespectful to people who cover the league or analyze the league. Fans who pay, growing up here in Los Angeles, go to one game a year. And because that meant a lot, like going to a game was an extreme experience that I encourage everyone to at least try to go to a game. But you save up and you go to a game and you spend hard-earned money on, tickets and food and parking and whatever else charges they bring up to you. And yeah, calling it a highlights league. I don't know any other, again, I don't follow the sports, but I don't know any commissioner that would come out and call their league a highlights league in a place where you're selling TV TV ads and commercials and all that is paid by people who watch and sit down
Yeah,
and watch the game.
that's what I was
That's
gonna
what
say. Like if you're
that's what
encouraging
they're
them to
paying.
watch highlights, then
Yeah, I've never heard the football commissioner come out and say we're a highlights league. You can catch all 5 touchdowns in 6 minutes.
yeah,
That would never tell you that because he knows football's a long game. Basketball's the same way. You could obviously catch the final 5 minutes if you want in a highlight package, but
yeah,
yeah, that was disappointing. Disappointing
yeah.
to hear from him.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if he corrects himself. I wouldn't be shocked if he does. He's pretty like hyper aware of himself, so I feel like he'll
Mhm.
probably try and correct himself later and say like he misspoke when it came to it. Can I say this?
Mm.
We'll discuss this on another pod. Maybe we won't discuss this at all because this is very interesting. I am very curious to see what happens with the coverages of with the coverage of basketball from content creators, not just Lakers related in general. I'm going to be very curious to see what the quality of it looks like, because the past couple seasons, it has become very clear that a lot of the basketball content creators on YouTube here are very highlights focused, very. And it seems like a brunt of their analysis. I'm just saying this. I'm not. There's no facts or data behind it. It seems like a lot of their knowledge comes from just what gets shared on the timeline. You share clips on the timeline, highlights, and people share highlights, lowlights, whatever it may be. Gets shared on X and YouTube and whatever. It seems like a lot of the analysis is being driven by highlights, not by highlights and analytics, not by what's the entire course of the game, right? So if you have great points per percentage based on whatever, then people talk very great about you. They don't care about the stuff that you do that doesn't help your team, which might actually be an Achilles heel for your team. And if you have really a ton of highlights of you scoring on a bunch of different people, people might think you're unstoppable. And so it seems like the coverage around basketball has gone in that direction. So like we're we're like moving more and more into the extremes. So the reason I'm saying this is because now with so many different sites, like so many different platforms that you have to watch it on, which everybody may not have access to, I wonder if people rely more on those highlights and if how that colors their analysis of specifically. So I'm going to be curious. I'm just going to be watching, not here to like point out that this person doesn't know what they're talking about, but I'm very curious because I feel like I've seen it already. We'll talk about specifically Lakers basketball. I've talked to people in the space. We'll talk about Lakers basketball and they'll say something and I'll be like, oh, I know exactly where you got that analysis from. Like you saw this video that was shared by this guy, and that's why you think that this is why this player is like this. And sometimes it's not necessarily true because it doesn't paint the entire picture of what that player's done throughout the season up until that point, till you saw that low light or you saw that highlight. So, anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to be very curious to see how that goes. But I think that's Raj. It's good for us. It's good for Lakers Detailed. It's good for the Detailers Club because we spare no time. And we don't mind spending the time looking at these details and analyzing stuff on a deeper level. Any last words, my friend, for the folks?
Man, I got into a lot on this episode. There's a lot to get to. Yeah, I'm interested to see where this investigation goes. I am locked in to this every episode that comes out. I think I've listened to them probably twice. Just like it's been so fascinating and cool to kind of see that kind of.
Pablo's got a murder mystery. If you could turn something into a murder mystery, that's when it gets real good. And he's turned this into a murder mystery, and it's good. Like I appreciate this.
Not just that, but he's like, I don't know how he's doing this, honestly, but he's like dropping stuff after, like, it's like he's dropping information and then waiting for the Clippers, whoever, to bite. Then he drops like kind of response to it with more information that he was withholding, like to wait for them to, to give a response. I find that so like the stuff he got today, he didn't release right until after they put out statements and things like that. I don't know. I find that just super.
It's super fun. I hope he continues to do well. And I hope, obviously we don't want I feel for the Clipper fans, so I hope nothing
Yes.
seriously bad happens. But you know, I think it's awesome. I think this is really great investigative journalism, and I'll be very curious to see how it finishes off. Folks, we talked about Luka, we talked about Wiggins, we talked about the Clippers, we talked about Adam Silver. We talked about a lot of stuff. We caught up a lot. This is probably one of our longest episodes we've done in a while. We appreciate all the folks that were able to jump in with us on kind of last minute notice on this Thursday night. We hope you're having a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, wherever you listen to. We appreciate all the folks that are part of Detailers Club. If you'd like to join Detailers Club, you can always head over to YouTube and sign up that way. Then just message me on X and I'll add you to the Discord. Detailers Club is just, we don't post videos every single day. There's no point in just throwing a bunch of content and talking about the same things over and over again. So Raj and I are very mindful of not only our time, but your time as well. So the Discord allows us to have daily discussions and just kind of basically have a group chat that's very specific to the folks that support the pod. And it's a way for you guys to help support Lakers Detailed. So as always, we appreciate all the folks that were able to join tonight. We hope you're having a wonderful day, a wonderful evening whenever you hear this. And if nothing else, we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.
Peace.